The views expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
He was always outgoing. He on his dirt bike all the time. He loved anything that got him dirty. And he traveled a lot. He went to Hawaii, and his job, his welding.
Take your time.
That's about it. He just loved his dirt bike. He would even try to take it out before the snow left. He always had lots of people to ride with, and his one job took him all over North Dakota, Wisconsin, just everywhere.
Kyle Boldry of Hillman made headlines around the country for killing his best friend and leaving another innocent man dead in his home.
Basically, I took a drug that I didn't know anything about, and I ended up killing two people.
Boldry is currently serving 25 to 50 years in prison with no chance of parole. Kyle and his now deceased friend, Trevor Hubbard, took a drug called 25I, a psychedelic hallucinogen.
It was heart-wrenching because nobody knew who it was, who the body was, and who they were arrested for a while. So I didn't know if that was mine or if it was hers, and we couldn't connect with each other to figure out whose child it was for a while.
If I would have known that I could have hurt somebody else on the drug that I was about to take, I would have never taken it. If someone would have told me, hey, a possible side effect is you could go insane and potentially kill somebody, then I would have never taken it.
Growing up, Kyle lived a simple life in northern Michigan, with a loving family, great friends, and a military career ahead of him. Kyle was an athlete in high school who had a passion for dirt biking. He was even crowned prom king during his senior year of high school. But the story isn't about Boldry and the one decision that changed his life forever. It's about making sure an incident like this never happens again, and Boldry believes drug education programs can do just that.
I just really don't want this to happen to anybody else because, I never thought I was going to end up in prison, and then especially not for something as bad as murder, and I ended up making one wrong choice and trying something I knew nothing about, and now two people are dead and my life's pretty much over.
In the state of Michigan, there are no laws that require schools to teach about drug education. Every day, people are trying drugs they know nothing about. According to drugabuse.gov, nearly 10% of Americans have used an illicit drug in the past month. Where is the system failing us that so many people are doing drugs and have the desire to try new ones? Coming up next, we'll take a deeper look into this phenomenon. Stay tuned. We went to University of Michigan in Ann Arbor to talk to one woman who has dedicated her life to adolescent drug abuse prevention. Sarah Stoddard's work has been published multiple times, and she has been interviewed by national news outlets like Rutgers. Dr. Stoddard says the best way to teach adolescents about drugs and prevention is the use of family programs that teach communication skills. Education on drugs that is evidence-based is shown to be effective. Exposing children to drugs, using scare tactics, and not giving any negotiation skills just doesn't work.
We know that scare tactics don't work, so scaring kids about kind of the use or the effects of drugs don't work. I think giving them knowledge and kind of information maybe about the risk of drugs is important, but not scaring them. And then, like I said, I think telling them to just say no without giving them tools and skills on how to do that doesn't work. I mentioned before that actually a number of family programs have been really effective, and we know that like parent-child communication, kind of parent monitoring, those kinds of skills, so programs that support that in a family have been really shown to be prevent substance use, but then also prevent violence and delinquency as well. So we can kind of, I think the beauty of it, and a lot of the work I do is trying to take multiple approaches to prevent substance use in youth, and that can be helping educate parents, giving parents the skills to talk to their kids about drugs and drug use, and then schools can play a role in educating young people about use, and then I've done work with media campaigns as well, so something more public and more broad, but again, it's not scaring. We used to see billboards that were about scaring, kind of about drug use, and those don't work, but to have messages that are kind of positive.
Through Stoddard studies, it's been found that parents don't feel confident or equipped to teach their children about drugs. But programs that help support parents have shown to help prevent substance abuse with children.
No, I would never have dreamt Kai would take something like that. As a parent, they may dabble in, pot or whatever. You never think they're going to take something like 2,5-I that I didn't even know anything about, and I Googled it, and it didn't even really come up. You had to really research it to really know what it would do. I mean, they say on there it's playing Russian roulette. What person would take something like that if they knew that? And he did not know that. He did not know that it was that intense of a drug.
According to drugabuse.gov, there have been multiple reports over the United States warning the public about counterfeit drugs that are laced with fentanyl, after neighboring states such as Indiana and Wisconsin reported the use of synthetic marijuana. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is warning residents about this drug.
The challenge right now is that new drugs are coming out all the time, and new kind of synthetic drugs, and it's really hard to keep up with that. And I can only imagine it's hard in urban areas to keep up with that. It's also hard in rural areas to keep up with kind of what's on the market right now. So I think that is one of our biggest challenges, is to keep up with kind of what drugs are out there being used.
Coming up next on Insights, we talk to the superintendent of Hillman Schools and the school's drug and alcohol prevention educator. Here in the rural community of Hillman, where Kyle Boldry went to school, they're trying to teach students to avoid drugs from a young age.
Drug prevention at Hillman High School, we kind of focus on grades 6 through 9. We incorporate drug prevention and awareness training with our health and physical education courses.
Hillman Schools partners with Up North Prevention of Catholic Human Services. Students in 6th through 9th grade learn life skills through a program called BOTVINS. Hillman Schools have taken it upon themselves to teach students this program.
Not that a school has to participate in. The state does have some kind of suggestions for content that they include in their health curriculum. The State of Education Board does have some recommendations for curriculum that's focused around health, but that includes substance use. But then it's really up to the school districts to whether they include that information or not.
BOTVINS teaches substance abuse, mental health issues, and risky behaviors. According to LifeSkillsTraining.com, the program has proven to cut drug use by 75% and alcohol use by 60%. This upcoming school year, Hillman plans to teach students about opioids. In the past, Hillman has targeted student athletes and parents of student athletes who are more likely to take opioids after an injury. But next school year, grades 9 through 12 will be receiving that education as well.
This next year, we're going to be instituting a new program in the 9th through 12th grades. We will definitely hit all of the 9th graders, and because our school system's a little smaller, I think we will be able to hit all of them. We're going to be implementing a program called This Is Not About Drugs. It is an opioid education curriculum, and it is meant, we will definitely deliver to all 9th graders. We'll also hit all athletes. This past year, we had done some opioid education to all parents and student athletes, because that, of course, is our, riskiest population for sports injuries, et cetera, to be watching. If you guys, have probably seen come through the works, July 1 of this year, the state has mandated that all public school systems have to do some opioid education. They're in the process right now of developing the curriculum, and schools don't have to mandate that until July of 19. We're taking a jump on that. We're utilizing a program through Overdose Lifeline, and it's called This Is Not About Drugs. And it's dealing with addiction and other prescription drug opioid issues, because of course we all know, the opioid epidemic right now.
The superintendent of Hillman Schools, Carl Siders, says schools leave a huge impact on their students because of the time educators spend with them.
We see all the kids each and every day, all day long, and that's why, again, educators are the most influential role model that a kid typically has, other than their parents. Behind the parents, they're probably the next most significant impact on a kid's life. So modeling good choices, modeling good behavior, how do you treat others, the work and diligence that's required to be successful in education, making good choices. But that is why educators are in this field, is to have that impact.
With students spending countless hours at their schools picking up all of the traits, behaviors, and habits of their peers, educators in many ways have become the first line of defense in the fight against drug abuse. Although the state of Michigan might not see it that way.
I think requiring drug use and prevention education would be great for us as a society and for adolescents, but education that's evidence-based and has shown to be effective. Because some of the programs we do know have actually increased substance use rather than decreased substance use. Well-intended programs, but that in the end were not effective.
Kyle Boldry, whose life was forever changed by one decision, hopes others can learn from his tragic mistake.
To the kids, it's really not worth doing them. You should probably just not do them. That'd be best. And to the parents, kids are going to make their own decisions regardless of what you tell them. So the best thing to do is just give them as much information as possible and hope they make the right ones.
Insights into Northeast Michigan is produced by WBKB News. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email WBKB News. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.